Today I want to talk to you about how you can make your blog stand out in 2020. But before we get into specifics, I want to share a few examples from multiple different industries.
In 1999, a DVD player cost about $300. Now, because everyone has the technology, you can get one for about $25.
And it used to be that you'd go watch a movie in the theater, and if you really liked it, then you might go buy the DVD the day it came out. You'd spend 20 or 30 bucks. But now with streaming services, I'll just watch this on Netflix. This one, Disney Plus. This is on Amazon Prime. If I really want to buy DVDs, I can get all 6 Mission Impossibles in one place. Why is anybody even buying movies anymore?
Another example is gas. Now that regular unleaded gas is the same everywhere, it just doesn't matter where you get it.
So what do all these products have in common? Well, they're all commodities. What that means is that one product offering is essentially indistinguishable from others. Now, what does this have to do with blogs? Let's go inside and let's discuss that.
To illustrate this, I'll just share this tweet from John Mueller. It's almost like he always knows what we're going to make videos about.
We've been planning this video for weeks.
Yeah. So here's what he says. It doesn't matter what kind of site. Ultimately, you need to find a way to differentiate yourself, especially when it comes to commodity content. What would make your site the objective best result by far for your preferred queries? Just being the same as others doesn't cut it.
So this is majorly hitting the blogging industry, but this isn't like a Google algorithm change. This isn't something that they're doing to us. This is something that we're doing to ourselves.
Right.
There are so many bloggers and so many websites, many millions of websites, active websites on the internet today. And so for most search queries, there's just a lot of content to choose from. And the search engines have to decide which of that content is going to be the best. And so this isn't necessarily bad news. This isn't a big change. This is just something we need to be aware of. Here at Income School and on this YouTube channel, what we do is we teach you how to navigate these sorts of things, how to create the best content that will differentiate itself in whatever industry that you're in.
Right, and so we want to talk today about a few examples of how this happens and also how to fix it, how to decommoditize your blog. Especially because a lot of the people that we teach, a lot of you guys in our audience, do have content that could qualify as commodity content, as John talked about.
We all do. We do, okay? So at our Creator Studio this last year, one of the websites we built, emborapets.com, has a lot of this kind of content on it. In fact, all of them really do. And it's something we've really been working on. But here's one in particular. Do pugs and cats get along? If you Google that right now, at least when I search it, our article from Embora Pets ranks number 2. But that article is virtually indistinguishable from the one that ranks number 1, and really the one that ranks number 3, and probably the one that ranks number 4, and maybe even the one that ranks number 10, right? There's a lot of content online covering that essential topic. Now, it was written really well. It ranks number 2, but it doesn't stand out. And so really, what the blog post is a bunch of written content answering the question really well and a few pictures of pugs. That's the blog post.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What do we do to make it stand out?
Right. And it really comes down to, it's hard with posts like this because they are commodity content. They're just basic, simple information. You're answering a question. It applies specifically to response posts, right? Because you're just answering a basic question. But there are a few things you can do. Like we were talking before this video about how much we could add more embedded YouTube content into our posts. Just to personalize it. It doesn't even have to be our YouTube video.
Right. If you just put in a YouTube video that was, an embedded YouTube video that somebody else made, right? That's pugs and cats and maybe even they're talking about it. And you're doing them a favor, right? They're getting the view count on YouTube.
Yep.
But it's making your content just a little bit more useful. If you are doing YouTube yourself, then this is a really good tactic. Just make videos with you and your pugs and talk about here at mywebsite.com and just make it feel like they're interacting with a person, not just some piece of commodity information. The more that you can show yourself and your brand and make that brand stick out to that person, the less of a commodity you're going to be. We have a few specific ways that, examples of ways that we could do that. We've talked in the past a lot about YouTube, and we've talked about EAT or EAT. You can learn more about those in a couple of our YouTube videos. So we're not going to harp on those so much today. We have some other tips for you that we think are really going to help.
Yeah, there's a term that we kind of coined. It's not a great coined term, but we call it return magnets. Basically, what we mean by that is a feature on your site or in a post that encourages people to come back to return to your website.
So an example of that on a YouTube channel would be like this. If you want to learn more about internet marketing and love the things that we teach in this video, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and click the bell so that you can get notifications and come back next time that we have an awesome video for you.
That's a totally random example.
Yeah, it's just an example of something you could do as a return magnet on a YouTube channel. But really, back to blogging.
Yeah,
we have some good examples.
We have a few examples of return magnets. So the first is an email list.
Ooh, that's so novel, right?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about an email list lately, and it is like an old school thing, right?
Yeah, right.
People have been doing it forever, but not a lot of people are capitalizing on it the way that they should be. For example, an email list is a community that you actually own, right?
Yeah.
We
it's
talk
not
all the
on
time.
some other platform. It's not. You're not relying on Google or any other search engine.
Yeah, even your blog
yours.
you don't really own. Google controls the traffic, right? Email, you own this audience. You can send to them whatever you want, and you can't really abuse that power or they will unsubscribe.
Sure, yeah,
but they are an audience that you can really control, you know? That sounds terrible, but...
No, but okay, so email list, great, but where's the spice here? The thing is that a basic email list has potential, but a lot of people do this wrong.
Yeah.
The big mistake most people make is they just send out information that people don't want to receive. They'll send out offers all the time of something to buy. They will send out a digest of the stuff that was recently published on the blog.
Yep.
For the most part, I don't care. I have subscribed to and then unsubscribed from so many email lists over time. The few that I stay on are the ones where the email itself provides me unique value. There are other awesome things we can do with an email list. You can get super smart. You can send specific emails to specific people who have done certain things on your site. I mean, you can get real smart with them if you get into those, into a good email list provider, something like a ConvertKit, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, those kinds of things. But even with the basic email list, you can just send out really cool stuff that's different from what's on your website. And that'll give people a reason to want to sign up. And it will make them more engaged in that content when you send it out. And then when you do send them back to your website from that email, they're more likely to actually click that link.
Yeah, exactly. And you can not only send traffic to your website, but you can also monetize the email list itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if Google were to go away, you still have that email list.
Right. You lose half your traffic on Google, which has happened to people quite a bit lately.
Oh, yeah.
But you have a really good email list of people that actually open and read the emails. Wow. I mean, you could keep your monetization pretty much steady even with half the organic traffic on your website because you have that dedicated audience because of this really good return magnet.
So number one is an email list. Number two is you kind of have to personalize your website. That could take the form of a lot of different things. For example, a lot of people, especially in hobby topics, can just post pictures of themselves doing things related to the topic.
Right.
And that gives a face to the website. It humanizes it. It also just makes you look like more of an expert. But there are a few other things you can do as well.
No, absolutely. Just to illustrate that a little bit, if I have a website about rappelling and it's just got stock photos of people rappelling and some really good text, that's great. But anybody can create that content.
Yeah.
But if it's me rappelling, smiling at the camera, and it's the same photo that is the guy that's on the about page and on the sidebar, you feel like you're getting to know me. And I would incorporate my own personality a little bit more into the content. Hey, you know what? Last week when I was out rappelling at this particular place, or hey, when I rappelled down El Capitan in Yosemite, that was epic, or whatever. Just personalize it a little bit more. Now there are some blogs that are on the other end of the spectrum, where there's a whole ton of opinion and personality content, and a lot of that's those the personality bloggers, right? The lifestyle bloggers and stuff, and they're doing a really good job of this because they're not relying anymore on organic traffic, right? They have built up a following, and people come back for them. If you're on an informational type website, which is really, really good for monetization, it's what we teach.
Yeah.
You need to take like a little bit of a lesson from those people. I'm not talking about posting a bunch of opinion stuff that nobody's going to Google about. I'm talking about posting helpful, accurate, good, relevant, informational content, but with that flair of personality that allows you to brand your website and makes people want to come back because of the content, but also because of you.
Exactly. That's one of the fundamentals of being on the internet, right?
Yeah.
People follow you because of you.
Yeah.
Like
you create a tribe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and speaking of that, number 3 is you have to create some sort of out-of-the-box solution, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing we can call it because they're so different from site to site.
Right.
So for example, you mentioned tribes. Seth Godin is kind of...
He wrote the book on tribes.
Yeah,
like, literally.
He literally wrote the book. An example of that is when you're in a biker gang, right? It's pretty much synonymous with being in a Harley gang. And that's like his number one example of being in a tribe. You could buy a $10,000 Suzuki motorbike and it could get you from point A to point B just as well.
Oh yeah,
right?
they're pretty sweet too. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad.
Mine was a Honda, but
those things were awesome, man.
Yeah.
The Trail 90.
No, so mine was, I had a this is totally separate, but I had a Honda Shadow, so a cruiser style, Harley style bike, but it was a Honda and it was awesome.
They are pretty cool, and Honda makes them well too. But anyway, so
way cheaper than a Harley.
We're obviously not in the Harley tribe, but the people who are, I mean, they pay big money to be in that tribe.
And they got all the swag, right? Yep. Harley leather and
and that's the reason is because they're in the tribe, man. They want to be in the tribe. So the way that Seth gets people in his tribe is he has so many different sources of traffic coming to his blog. If you look at his blog on the sidebar, there are so many options to find content from Seth. There's social media, there's free content, there's his books.
He writes a blog post every day.
Yeah.
And then he sends out his daily email that is his blog post, which is something that I said doesn't work for most people. It does for him because he writes these really short blog posts that it's kind of like your little daily digest. And so Seth has created this total, we call it this Omnichannel approach.
Yeah.
He hits you from every angle. No matter what platform you're on, you can find him. And if you really want to find Seth's blog to look at how to do that, just Google Seth, S-E-T-H.
Yeah.
He's done such a good job of this that it is impossible to not find Seth Godin if you're looking for anything in this space.
Which is crazy because like there are some pretty famous Seths out there.
Oh,
Seth Rogen has the #1 podcast in the world, you know? So anyway, he's awesome.
But
you
he's
should
losing
follow
on
him.
Google to Seth Godin. So
yeah,
just
exactly.
putting that out there.
So the next website we want to talk about is Vox.com, another one of the most popular blogs in the world. If you look right at the top, they have this top stories section, and that's really how these Huffington Post, Vox, Mashable,
Any news type, anything
that's how they get so
and that's
popular.
funny because like Mashable isn't news.
Right.
But there's always something new, and there's some that are popular, and so they have this section that we'll just refer to as new and popular, right?
Yeah. So you might be thinking like, well, I don't really want to create an active news blog, but we can do this on a smaller scale.
Right.
If we just create this section, even if it's just like a category called new and popular, people will say, oh, this is an actively managed blog, and they'll check out that section because it's the new and popular section, right?
And as long as you add something new reasonably frequently,
right.
You know, if every week there was something new added to that section, people would have more of a likelihood of just coming back to the website. And you cannot beat direct traffic.
Yep.
I mean, Google cannot stop people from getting to your website when they just type in yourwebsite.com, enter. Anyway, so that is some of the most valuable traffic. So if you can get people coming back, specifically typing in your website to come to your new and popular section, yes, it makes your website a little bit more active to manage, but man, it could be the thing that keeps you relevant, makes you stand out.
And just as kind of a side note, you can throw in your most well monetized posts to that
in the
section.
new popular section.
Exactly.
It's one of the most popular.
To me.
It's one I really like.
We want to throw in just one more tip. You can do giveaways on your site, and that keeps people coming back to see who won, if you've announced the winner, if there's another giveaway. And you don't have to like do, here's a trip to Cancun or...
We're giving away a car. We're actually not, I'm sorry.
What you can do is instead just like make it a free offering of yours, like
Yeah.
a free ebook, a free consultation, a free version of your info product, whatever it is. People love that stuff. I mean, we do it all the time on this channel, and it drives great engagement. So.
Yeah, so like HGTV gives away like 4 houses a year.
Yeah.
And one of the things they do is they let people enter once a day. And so what do people do? They go
back every day.
Every single day to that website for 3 months until they announce the winner. I mean, that's super effective. You don't have to do it on that kind of scale at all. I mean, giving away a free consultation, it may be the thing that gets somebody to come back like, oh, I want to check and see who won.
Yeah.
Check if I won,
To prove that this works, I literally saw yesterday on just my news feed. I didn't even go to the site. I didn't hear it from my wife, who checks those all the time.
Yeah.
I was just on my Apple News, and it said the next HGTV Dream House is coming out December 30th. So it's a big deal. So if you can do this on a smaller scale, just like we've talked about with smaller giveaways of yours.
Exactly. To learn more about how we built up this business, incomeschool.com, I invite you to go read Work Energy. It's a book written by none other than Jim Harmer that's going to be published on January 1st, 2020. To learn more about the book and get updates for when it's going to be out there, when you can pre-order it, go to incomeschool.com/workenergy.